క్షేమ ప్రేమతో మన గ్రామాల నుంచి ఆరోగ్య పాలు.
Hey folks, welcome to episode 8 of Ramayana with Anuja. In the previous episode I told you about how our protagonists found themselves in a world of pain and trouble. Sita had been abducted by Ravana and he had taken her to Lanka. Ravana tried to impress Sita with the fabulous beauty and riches of Lanka, but she wasn't remotely impressed. Her thoughts were fully with Rama and she kept thinking of him, hoping and praying that he would come for her soon. But Ravana wasn't done trying to persuade her to marry him, so he showed her everything. He showed her the beautiful palaces, the residences, and he told her how he had defeated his half-brother Kubera and helped himself to all his riches. And he also showed her the Pushpaka Vimana which he had taken from Kubera. He said, on this we can see the three worlds together. It will be a magical experience. Just consent to be my wife. And Sita was just disgusted. She wasn't impressed. She told him, you've hurt your own brother. What sort of king are you? You should be married to Dharma. You shouldn't try to marry another man's wife. And she spoke like this. And when Ravana realized that she wasn't relenting, he took her and asked for his female guards to hold her captive in Ashokavana. It was a beautiful garden, his favorite garden, and he told these female Rakshasis to stand guard. And then he told Sita, I'm going to give you exactly 1 year. I can't keep begging and pleading like this. 12 months time is all you get. You either agree to be my wife or I will ask these Rakshasis to chop you up and serve you for breakfast. And it was quite a horrid threat, and Sita was horribly depressed and she sat there and she refused to give up hope. She picked up a blade of grass, she placed it between her and Ravana. She said 12 months or 2000 millennia doesn't matter, I will never change my mind, I will never marry you. And she placed that blade there and she looked away. Ravana walked off angrily and we shall leave Sita there. Meanwhile, Rama and Lakshmana were also not having a very good time. They waited out the rainy season in the caves near Kishkinda, and every day was so depressing without Sita, and Rama was very, very unhappy. Meanwhile, Sugriva was really living it up. He'd finally returned to his kingdom. He was reunited with his wife. He was having a ball. And after 4 months had elapsed, when the rainy season had passed, he's still having a great party, and he wasn't really interested in looking for Sita or fighting a war. And Hanuman very gently approached his king. He said, let's not forget our friends who've helped us so much. We really should keep our promise to them. Sugriva immediately sent for his general, his Senapati. He said, I want you to mobilize the Vanara and Riksha forces. The Vanaras were the monkey troops and the Rikshas were the black bears. And he said, just send word to them, and I want Angada to take charge of mobilizing this great army. And then he felt he'd done his duty and he went back to enjoying himself. And meanwhile, Rama was getting very impatient. He told Lakshmana, see, this is what happens, when people are going through hard times, they'll come and ask for your help and then they won't return the favor. I want you to go and talk to Sugriva. And he knew Lakshmana was very short-tempered, so he said, please be diplomatic. Lakshmana picked up his bow and his expression was very stern as he went towards Sugriva's palace. And Tara, who was Vali's widow, it was she who pacified him. She said, don't worry, his heart is in the right place. He's not the sort of person who will forget his friends. He's already given instructions for the troops to be mobilized. Soon things will start rolling. And Lakshmana spoke to Sugriva as well, and he reaffirmed his good intentions. He said, don't worry, I swore friendship, I will not let Rama or you down. And the good news was the troops had been mobilizing and Angada had done a good job of organizing them. Sugriva went and met Rama and Lakshmana personally in Prasravana where they were waiting, and he gave instructions to all his troops. They were divided into 4 divisions and they were sent in the 4 directions. And since they already had the information that Ravana was in Lanka, which was to the south, it was decided that Hanuman, Angada, General Tara and Jambavan, they should head the division leading to the south. And Rama knew that this was the division most likely to find success. He said, Hanuman, I feel so happy, my future is safe in your hands. And he removed his signet ring and he gave it to Hanuman. He said, I want you to show this to Sita, only then will she know that you come from me. So the divisions took off. From the divisions that had gone to the west, north and east, they returned, and Sugriva had given instructions that they had exactly 1 month to return with information or their lives would be forfeit. At the end of 1 month, these 3 divisions returned with no information at all, and everyone knew that only Hanuman and the division to the south would hopefully bring answers. Meanwhile, these guys were having a very difficult time of it. They had a lot of misadventures along the way. Food and water was a constant issue for them, and they were feeling very depressed, and they knew 1 month had run out, which means their lives were forfeit. And as they approached the Vindhyas, they saw a magical cave, and there were all sorts of delicious smells coming from it. So quickly, one after the other, they went into this cave, and they were met by a woman named Swayamprabha. This was a magical cave. It was paved with gold and crystal, and all the trees had yummy delicacies on them. And Swayamprabha told all of them that this place was called Vrikshabila, and she told them a little bit about the history of the place. Apparently, there was an Apsara named Hema, and she had been desired by Maya, who was the architect of the Asuras. He had many talents, and having performed penances to Brahma, he also had a lot of wealth. So he confessed his feelings for Hema, who belonged to Indra's Sabha, and he took her away to Vrikshabila, where they could live happily. But they had 3 children also, Mayavi and Dundubi, who had been slain by Vali, and Mandodari, who was married to Ravana. Now, unfortunately for this happy family, Indra interfered, and he decided he wanted Hema back. So he fought a war with Maya, and Hema was once more restored to her place among the celestials. So Maya had abandoned this cave, and Swayamprabha had been a friend of Hema, so it was given to her. And she fed them a lot of yummy food, and they were all blissed out and happy. But Hanuman alone knew that they still had a mission to fulfill. He told her everything that had happened, and he begged for her help. And Swayamprabha said, anyone who comes inside cannot leave with their life. There's a curse here, but let me help you. And she used her ascetic merit. Very sweetly, she asked them to hold hands, and then she held Hanuman's hand and she led them to the southern sea. This was very sweet of her to help them, but even so, Angada was very depressed. He said, now my uncle has a good reason to kill me also, like my father. I will not let him kill me. I will stay here and end things. I am going to fast unto death. And lots of others decided to follow his example. And Jambavan alone spoke very sensibly. He said, no, don't do this, we will figure it out. But Angada was cribbing and moaning, and there was an old eagle over there. This eagle's name was Sampati. And Sampati was very hungry. He thought if these fasting Vanaras died, he would have a yummy meal. So he was paying attention to what they were doing, and when he heard the words Jatayu, he perked up and he started listening, and he found out the whole story. And then he called out to them, and they went to him, and he said, Jatayu is my brother. When we were very young, we were arrogant about our strength, and we decided to fly towards the sun. And poor Jatayu was, he was unconscious because the sun's rays had scorched him. So I held him and flew down, and my wings were burnt off, and I've remained here ever since. So I'm stuck here. And then he asked what happened to Jatayu, and they told him all the details. He wept when he heard about it, and he said, I want my revenge against Ravana. I saw him carry Sita away to Lanka. My eyesight is very keen. I will tell you where she is. And then he scanned the horizon with his sharp vision, and he told them, I can see her being held captive in a garden. It's called Ashokavana. That's where Ravana is holding her. Now, now that they were late, they knew that they needed even more information before returning to Sugriva. So they tried to figure out how to cross the sea and see this for themselves. And while they were arguing, they all realized that only Angada was capable of probably making the jump of at least 100 yojanas, whereas the others didn't really have a shot. And everyone felt that the crown prince of Kishkinda shouldn't take such a risk. So they were all talking among themselves. And suddenly Jambavan, he turned to Hanuman. He said, it's time for you to know the truth about yourself. You're sitting here so modestly, I will tell you. And then he told about how Hanuman was actually the son of Vayu the wind and Anjana. He said as a baby he had been very strong, very precious child, and Brahma had blessed him and said he would be immune to weapons. Now this little boy, one day he was hungry, and while his mum was gathering fruit, he thought the sun was a fruit and he leaped towards the sun. When Indra witnessed this feat of valor performed by a baby, he got jealous and he hurled his thunderbolt which hit Hanuman's jaw. That's why he gets that name, and Hanuman crashed down. Vayu was furious that his son had been injured this way, and he stilled the wind at once, and Indra had to apologize, and he also blessed Hanuman, and he said no weapons will hurt him, and he blessed him with strength. He was blessed again, and he grew up to be a very strong Vanara, but unfortunately as a youngster he was brash and arrogant. He used to disrupt the activities of rishis, so they cursed him and said that he will lose his memory of who he is, and they said when an avatar of Vishnu needs your help, you will be reminded of it. And when Jambavan concluded this story, Hanuman knew exactly how powerful he was, and he was so happy that he could do a service for Rama, and so he enlarged himself. He became massive. Okay, and from the summit of Mount Mahindra, he made his leap across the sea. He had many adventures along the way. There was a mountain friend of his, Mainaka, of his father's. Mainaka tried to get him to stop and rest there, but he refused. He was single-minded in his focus. And then there was a sea monster, okay, and she told him he couldn't pass if he didn't enter her jaws. Okay, and so he again shrunk himself, quickly entered her jaws and passed out. And there was yet another monster which tried to drag down his shadow, and he killed her as well, and he moved on finally and landed on the shores of Lanka. Again he took the form of a small monkey, and he looked and he saw that Lanka was gorgeous, a beautiful city, and he knew that this king was a great, even though he was evil. And then something stopped his passage to Lanka. It was none other than Lankini, the guardian deity of Lanka, and she struck him and she said, "You can't pass without fighting me." So he hit her back, and immediately she said, "I will leave this place forever." It was prophesied that when I am struck by a monkey, Lanka will fall, and Lankini left. And Hanuman quickly explored Lanka. He saw all the beautiful residences, he heard the Vedic chants, he thought what a well planned city. He saw the evidence of the fabulous wealth there. He went into Ravana's palace, he saw his beautiful queens, each one more beautiful than the next. He saw the parties there, he saw Ravana himself with his 10 heads, and he was thinking, where am I going to find Sita? He saw a beautiful woman lying down next to Ravana, and for a minute he thought that was Sita, and then he said, no way, she's too virtuous, it's not her. And he remembered what Sampati had said. He made his way to Ashokavana and he found her there near a shrine. And for a second, he was filled with love for this beautiful, virtuous woman. And so as not to scare her, he just waited quietly in a tree and just observed. Ravana came, dawn had broken. He arrived there and once more he threatened Sita. He said, don't mistake my kindness, you will be my wife, come what may. And again she just placed a blade of grass and Ravana lost his temper. Immediately Danyamala dragged him away. She said, come, don't get angry over this girl, I will make you happy, and she led him away. And Hanuman was angry. He was thinking how much this poor woman has to suffer. And the Rakshasis around her also were teasing and mocking. And then there was a Rakshasi called Trijata. She said, she's a good soul, don't hurt her feelings anymore. She chased the other Rakshasis away. And finally, Sita was alone, but she was very depressed. She'd become very thin, her clothes were shabby, but still she was so beautiful, lit up with inner goodness. And Hanuman approached her and he didn't want to scare her, so he just started saying the story of Rama, and he talked about his great deeds, he talked about Dashratha, and Sita looked up and she was still suspicious, so he dropped the signet ring at her feet and told her, I'm a messenger from Rama, and then she was very happy. They spoke for a bit, he gave her all the news, he said, don't worry, he's a great man, he will find you. She said, I don't doubt it, and she blessed Hanuman as well. And Hanuman offered to carry her away, but Sita said, no, I will wait for my husband, that is the right thing. And when he took his leave of her, Hanuman decided that the people who were torturing her like this deserved to be punished. So he quickly started laying waste to the garden and ripping out the trees and smashing all the priceless objects of art over there. And the Rakshasis ran and informed Ravana's guard, and he kept sending divisions, and Hanuman made short work of them. Ravana's commander-in-chief's son was Jambumali. Hanuman killed him effortlessly, and then Ravana's own son Aksha went and he also met the same fate. Ravana was angry now. He immediately sent Indrajit. Indrajit was the pride of Lanka, a great warrior, a formidable warrior, but extremely arrogant. And this young prince showed up on the scene, and he took note of everything that had happened, and he knew the only weapon that would work against Hanuman was the Brahmastra. So he released it, but Hanuman had his boon of immunity from Brahma, saying that he would be spared from weapons. So the Brahmastra just wrapped itself in coils around him, and it would hold him in place for just 1 hour. Hanuman knew that, so he just surrendered. And immediately all the other Rakshasas started binding him tightly with ordinary ropes, and Indrajit knew that the coils of light would lose their potency, but he just thought, God, these ignorant Rakshasas, and he just took off. He'd done his job, he left, and Hanuman was dragged before Ravana. And immediately Ravana said, so this is the idiot who killed my son, he shall also be killed. And Vibhishana said, brother, what are you saying? He's just a messenger, you can't kill him and all. Then Ravana said, I can certainly punish him. Set his tail on fire, soak it with oil, bind it with cloth, set it on fire. And Hanuman just held himself erect. He told him, what you're doing is wrong. Return Sita to Rama. He's very compassionate. He will spare you. Otherwise, there will be war. And you've seen what I can do today. Wait till you see the Vanara army led by Sugriva. But Ravana just laughed, and they all started binding his tail and pouring oil over it. And Hanuman wasn't scared at all. Once they lit his tail on fire, he immediately set himself free from the bonds holding him, and he jumped from roof to roof, setting all of Lanka ablaze. And Sita saw what was happening because the Rakshasis were panicking, and she immediately prayed to Agni. She said, if I am a good virtuous woman, then please do not hurt my friend Hanuman. And it was miraculous, but Hanuman felt absolutely no pain from the flames, but he set all of Lanka on fire. And then he was worried. He was thinking, what if Sita's been harmed? But he quickly went to check on her. She was fine, and she was pleased to see that he was well too. They both wished each other luck, and Hanuman promised her, just be brave, your husband will be here soon and he will save you. And then, now that he was successful, totally triumphant, just before he left, Sita wanted to give Hanuman something to take to Rama, so she handed over her Chudamani. She had worn it on her wedding, and it had been a gift from her father Janaka, who in turn had received it from Indra. She knew that Rama would be able to revive a whole lot of precious memories and really treasure this little gift she was sending back to him. Hanuman was very happy to do this favor for the lovers. He had not thought it possible for him to love anyone as much as Rama, but he knew that Sita would be equally dear to him because she had impressed him so much with her kindness and virtue. He made the leap again from Lanka across the ocean. On this wonderful note, I will conclude this episode, and I will see you soon with more exciting stories. You know what you have to do. You have to hit like, share and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments section. I will see you soon. Take care.
క్షేమ ప్రేమతో మన గ్రామాల నుంచి ఆరోగ్య పాలు